All right. Coach, we'll turn it over to you, sir.
All right. Pretty spirited practice today. I think, being back in week 2 off of the pause and also getting some a little more comfortable weather. Those two factors, game day being closer, that factor, those are probably the reasons for it. But just a very spirited day, very highly competitive practice. I think the one thing I can say since the last time that we've talked is I feel like we've improved every day out there. Just pleased with the way the kids are working. We're starting to get in some better conditioning shape. We pushed through today without an interruption the entire practice. So it's we're getting a little bit better every day.
Okay, we'll open up to questions for Coach.
Coach, I know before this latest pause, you guys were at least getting somewhat close to maybe establishing a depth chart. Do you feel like that's something you're close with, or would that happen after this coming scrimmage?
I think we're close. The tough thing that we're battling right now with this deal is, all those guys that were out because during the pause, getting them back and getting them participating in practice because they haven't been with us, and that's been a real challenge because a lot of those guys are frontline guys. So I think we're getting closer. I think we're getting a lot of guys reps. So I think that it's a little bit different than most years where you just kind of try to establish a 2 deep and maybe who's next. I mean, now I think you're looking at where your room sits overall at each and every position.
Do you have an update on those that are either in isolation or have moved on to the return to play protocol number-wise?
Well, the number's getting smaller and smaller. That's my update. So hopefully we'll have everybody back practicing by next week.
Coach, as far as when it comes to COVID-19, I know that we heard last week that Navy wasn't having any kind of contact, no tackling. I know that John Gilbert, Ryan Robinson, everybody there, the medical staff's done a great job with handling the situation. But from a coach's standpoint, I just don't know how you can practice without football is a contact sport. So I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Not if you're going to play and keep score. I mean, that's my thing. I mean, we all each. But here's the one thing I'll say. I can't sit here and say anything about how another school's preparing during this time because each one of us have been restricted, not by what, we want to do. We've been restricted by so many protocols with, the state and local guidelines. And, certainly we follow those protocols and you try to go through and make sure we're following all the safety procedures and everything. But at the end of the day, here's the one thing I know. If we don't prepare for the sport to be played the way it's supposed to be, if we're not practicing with some physicality, having live action, then I think we're setting the kids up to be hurt, on game day. You've got to prepare to play the game the way it's supposed to be played on game day. The only way that I think you learn how to tackle is by tackling. The only way I think you learn how to block live bodies is by blocking live bodies, and it's got to be a full speed deal. Certainly you have to taper it, to make sure that you keep guys healthy, but you've got to also prepare them for success.
Coach, with contact tracing specifically, are you and you've talked a little bit about guys working out of different positions, but are you dividing rooms? Have you kind of established emergency guys just in case, the worst case scenario occurs?
Right. Well, with our meetings and with everything we're doing indoors, we are spaced. All the guys have masks on. So you're establishing some safety protocols by that manner. And I think we've done a good job with that. Out on the field, we're playing football. I think that when it gets out there between the lines, I think we've all learned across the country that, you can practice football and be safe. My biggest fear still is when they're away from us. And I think that's my biggest fear, and where we keep preaching to them about do the right thing when it comes to, every year you're talking about so many things, do the right thing in so many areas of a college student's life. This year it's also do the right thing with COVID protocols, distancing, wearing a mask, all that stuff.
Coach, I know Daquan McMillan is somebody you've talked about kind of consistently in preseason here. I'm curious what type of players he had practiced. Is he a real vocal guy, leadership-wise, or is he kind of just let his play, take the lead on that? Or how is he in practice with the defensive backs?
Well, first, he's having an outstanding preseason, and he's a guy that I'm so grateful he's in our program because he plays the game the way I want all of them to play. He has that edge. He's a smart player, has ability, but he plays the chip on his shoulder. And he is not an extremely vocal guy. He'll show some emotion every once in a while, but he very much does set the example with the way he plays every single snap. He's a guy that you can use to teach and young guys to learn from.
Coach, sticking with the corner. Sorry.
Yeah.
Coach, sticking with the corners, has Nigel has he been able to progress at all? I know at the start of camp he was hurt. What's an update on Nigel?
Yeah, he's struggling to get on the field right now. Hopefully he'll get out there at some point.
I was going to ask it, not about him specifically, but just the cornerbacks, the room, the kind of defensive backs. We know about Jaquan, but who are some other guys that have stepped up there, it kind of given him some help in the secondary?
Well, I think you've got a lot of guys that are coming along quite nicely. And, Sean Dorso has really been a pleasant surprise. Warren Saba is playing the best I've seen him play since I've been here. Juwan Powell, Malik Fleming, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of fight in that guy too. All those guys are doing a great job. You got some other guys, Tank missed a little bit of time. He's back now. Robert Kennedy's missed a little bit of time. He's coming back soon. Nolan Johnson's having a pretty steady, solid preseason camp. And then, some of our young kids, David Laney and Sean Tucker, those guys have done some good things as well.
What did you feel like you took away from watching the AAC programs that did get to start this weekend?
Well, I think you saw, at least you saw football. That's the biggest positive. And certainly, the three programs that we saw play this weekend are three that I think are, outstanding programs. Coach Niamat up at Navy, I have tremendous respect for him. He's disappointed today in their performance, but I also know that he and that staff will get those guys fixed. I do think it's a big caution to all of us that, at the end of the day, you've got to prepare to play the game. I thought that, SMU and Memphis, you saw some really, really good things. I think you saw some timing and some stuff that wasn't quite as crisp as you would expect out of them. And I think you're going to see some of the same things out of everybody. Conditioning is going to be an issue early in the year. I think, the timing and just, all the, clean play that we're so accustomed to seeing, you have not had the spring practice. You haven't had the spring and summer conditioning. Fall camp has been stop, start. So I think you're going to see some inconsistent play even in the top programs.
Coach, we talked a lot about the defensive line. Have you seen any leaders emerge there? I know you brought in Willis as an older guy, but with it being such a young room, have any leaders emerged?
Well, first, there's an army of them. That's the good thing. We have great depth. Really happy with the group. I think you're going to look for years and really be excited about this group because we got them for multiple years. Very pleased with Chris Willis. I think he's come in and he's been what I'd hoped he would be, which is an experienced older player with good practice habits. Has some fire and intensity in him, and really does a good job of just being that disciplined player that you hope you would have in an older guy. So I think he's shown a lot of that to those younger guys, and has not come in here with a big ego either. He's come in here and just worked. Other guys, you've had some spot stuff from some guys. Hosey and D'Angelo obviously have a little bit of experience, and they do a good job with leadership. They've been kind of in and out of the lineup. I think Demir Faison has, I think he's a guy that's, ready to see some significant action this year. And I think you've got a bunch of young kids that, every day they're getting better. And every day that they're gaining more experience, they're going to improve.
Coach, as far as the offensive side of the ball, we know that there's a lot of experience there. We feel like there'll be a lot of points forward. How is I know you have a lot of confidence in the defensive coordinator Blake Harrell. How's the defensive side of the ball looking right now?
I think we're getting back to where we were. I think the pause maybe hurt us a little bit more defensively than it did offensively because it's a new system and you have a lot of young players. But I think they're improving every day. I think they're having better and better days every day. The one thing is they get challenged. They get challenged offensively. I like a lot of the stuff our offense is doing. I think we're playing with a little more edge and physicality than what we did last year. I really like that. I think it challenges our defense. I think it's something I'm really pushing, the team to have is that a little more of a chip on your shoulder mentality. And so I think that, everybody's improving because of that competition.
Hey, Coach, JB Ricks here from Spectrum News 1. I want to go back to what you were able to gather off of some of your conference foes already being in action.
Right.
Is there any blessing in disguise that you can take out of the fact that you guys aren't going to start up until the 26th, and those things that need to be ironed out that you're seeing with other programs, you can apply that to the practices moving forward until you guys open up the season?
I think there's good and bad. The reason for us pushing back so long is because of having the outbreak and having the 12-day pause. So obviously we didn't improve any there. Probably took a step back. I do think that, it's giving you, this having that extra week now before the opener after we've gotten everybody back. I think it does give you an opportunity to iron out some things with some young kids. We're working so many situations this week. Today we're working late game, special teams situations. We're going to continue to work all that throughout this week. It gives you maybe a little bit more time with that stuff than what you've had in the past. So I think there's some plus and some minus.
Coach, have you gotten any indication yet about game day sideline, how many locker rooms, coaches in the press box? Any of that gotten any clearer in the last, day today?
Well, we've got a meeting tomorrow, ironically, on just that. We've been talking and having dialogue with conference office and just making sure that, we have things the way it should be here. My questions are, do we need to continue to have multiple locker rooms for game day? Do we need to use an alternative space? We've got to make sure that we have a workable, appropriate space for the visiting opponent also. There's so much there, what the press box is going to look like. It'll look different for you guys, it'll look different for our coaches. I think it's going to be distancing, wearing a mask, and, following all the protocols.
On the next scrimmage, do you know kind of schedule yet if that would be Friday or Saturday, or how you'll kind of do that?
Yeah, hopefully as long as we don't miss a day this week, we're going to have that Friday afternoon. And we're working towards that and really want to get a lot of situations there with officials. We had officials here last Saturday for practice and had some competitive live work there with some situations. But, now you're just trying to get guys, experience in those different things that come up during the game, especially the late game stuff. So we'd like to get that done Friday afternoon and then, give the guys, a little bit of time off their legs Saturday, look at the film Sunday and then start getting ready for UCF.
Coach, how much special teams work were you able to, get to today, and what does that look like this week leading into the scrimmage?
A lot. We're doing a lot every day. We did a lot of live work with special teams last Saturday, but today we worked our coverage units, kickoff and punt, and we worked late game field goal situations and substitutions and stuff like that. So, each day we've got a different emphasis, and each day we have some late game special team situation also.
Are there any other questions for Coach Houston this afternoon? Okay. Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. See you soon.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Coach.